Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Suryanti, and in this my presentation, I would like to explain about factors in language learning. So, there are some factors in language learning. There are some factors in language learning, but before I explain about the factors in language learning, I would like to explain about the definition of language. So, language is such a complex phenomenon that it has become the common study point of many social sciences such as linguistics, psycholinguistics, sociolinguistics, neurolinguistics, and historical linguistics. In the field of psycholinguistics, Gus and Selinker put forward several dimensions which affect the language learning or acquisition, such as age difference, affect, aptitude, personality, social aspect, motivation, learning style, and learning strategies. Age difference. It is believed that children are better at language acquisition than adults because it be more difficult when puberty because the brain lack the ability and adaptation, and then affect. In effect, there are some points such as language shock, culture shock, anxiety, and affective filter. Language shock is the realization that a learner must seem comical to speakers of target language, while culture shock was firstly proposed by Oberg in 1960 is the personal disorientation a person may feel when experiencing an unfamiliar way of life or exposure to a new culture. And then anxiety. Anxiety is a feeling of anxiousness, worry, and nervousness experiencing by non-native speaker when they're learning or using a second language. And then the affective filter is a theoretical construct that attempts to explain the emotional variables associated with the success or failure of acquiring or learning a second language. And then aptitude. Aptitude is the specific ability a learner has for learning a second language. And then personality. Personality is a particular combination of emotional, behavioral response patterns of an individual. And then social aspect. Social aspect. Okay, in this factor, social distance may occur because two cultures come in contact with an individual, and social distance may give the learners distance against the target culture in the process of second language learning. And then motivation. We know that motivation is important factor in language learning because motivation is determines um, a person's desire to do something. So when people have the motivation, they have a big motivation to do something that they want. And then in motivation, there are two types of motivation. First is integrative, and then the second is instrumental. Integrative is a learner studies a language because interest in people and culture or in order to communicate with people of another culture who speak it. And then in instrumental motivation. Instrumental motivation is a learner goals for learning a second language because functional and useful. And then learning style. Learning style is a term generally used to describe an individual natural or habitual pattern of acquire and processing information in learning situation. And then the last part is learning strategies. There are consists four main components, which is cognitive strategies, metacognitive strategies, social strategies, and then affective strategies. Cognitive strategies involve the manipulation of the theory material such as repetition and summarizing, while metacognitive strategies using a reflective thinking process to increase awareness of our strength and learning style to improve the conscious control of learning, which can help this learner understand the way they learn. For example, analyzing, organizing such as mind mapping, and then social strategies. In social strategies, involve interpersonal behavior by establishing a level empathy in learning, and then affective strategies. In affective strategies, it involves taking control of the emotional condition that shapes one's subjective involvement in learning. So, there are some factors in language learning. I think that's all from my presentation. My apology if there is a mistake that I have made, and maybe my explanation is not clear enough. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.